You know what's crazy? This is crazy, man. I can't believe how blessed that I am that I got to live in poverty, homelessness, poverty. Grew up in an abusive home, was around watching people stick needles in their veins, including my father when I was 14, 15 years old. Most people would say that's terrible. But you know what? That was the greatest blessing that I have ever received in my life. God puts us through trials to break us so he can rebuild us. And that's where true knowledge and wisdom comes from. You can have everything in this world. You can have money, you can be successful, make money, and then it'll get to your head. You'll become prideful and you'll think, I have it all figured out, because clearly I have it all figured out. I have success, I have money. But you know what? You can have all of that and still know nothing at all about life itself. And that's the problem. And I just seen it. People think that they know, but they haven't lived it. There's a big problem in the world right now with all this lived experience and all this stuff. These guys that are claiming that they got lived experience and did all this and that, not even close. Not even close. Not even close. They weren't there. They don't know the darkness the way they act like they think they do. Trust me, there's levels to this stuff. And there is a rock bottom. And you guys weren't there. I never saw you there. I would have saw you if you were there. We would have been sitting there crying together, sitting on a curb, on the side of the sidewalk in a major city, starving to death, wondering who's going to take care of us at 14 years old, have nowhere to rest your head or go to sleep. So how can you get up and work and get yourself out of that situation? It doesn't exist. That stigma belongs to people that live in ignorance and lack of understanding and real life experience. So that's why God takes people like me and blesses them and turns them into kings. Has them sleeping in a tent, next thing you know, looking down, from a condo with a beautiful view. Because that doesn't happen, eh? That just doesn't just happen like that. You don't just spend 14 years homeless and then all of a sudden you're blessed. It just doesn't happen like that. And people might say, oh, well, maybe people helped you. Well, you know what? Even if somebody did help me, let's just say somebody did, to help me up or elevate me in any way, God can use people that don't even believe in him to bless his children. Yeah. Imagine that, because let's say if somebody helped me or, whatever, just helped me or encouraged me in any way, and they didn't even believe in God, and somebody might say, oh, well, you had people to support you and encourage you. No, actually I didn't. These people never existed my entire life of my entire 14 years of homelessness. When I started to pray and ask God to help me, once he was done keeping me where I had to be in homelessness to learn the lesson that he was trying to teach me so he could break me, so he could rebuild me, then he blessed me when I came to him and asked for it, because it was time. I went through my trial and tribulation, and it formed and structured me into who I was meant to be, closer to who I was meant to be for God. Okay? But you know what? Even if somebody did intervene in any way, shape, or form, and let's say they didn't even believe in God, God will use people that don't even believe in him to bless his own children. So you're going to bless God's children, and you're going to know that God is real without even accepting it and admitting it yourself. God can even use evil people and evil to actually have good outcomes. That's how good God is. That's how powerful God is. He can take anything ugly and make it beautiful. That's what you don't get. But here's the thing. I'm so lucky and I'm so blessed that I got to go through homelessness at 14 years old, be around drug addicts and alcoholics, be around gangsters and pen timers that died in front of me, that got 25 years for first-degree murder. His name was Easy. His brother was a twin. His brother died, got killed, and then the other brother went to jail for 25, and I think he died in jail. My dad died when I was 18, when I was in a jail cell. I missed the funeral. The system is crooked, it's corrupt, and the system belongs to Satan. Okay? So if you don't believe in God, You don't even, but you believe that the system is corrupt and evil. You don't even know what's making it corrupt or evil. You can't even defend yourself against an enemy that you don't believe even exists in the first place. And you definitely can't guard yourself if you don't have no shield, and God's the shield. So you know what? It's not going to work. It's oxymoronic in the first place. All of these cults that you think are Christians and Christianity that have deceived you and fooled you, and now you think, oh, see, that's Christians. The Catholic Church is a cult. They claim that they're Christian. They're not. They don't live by any values or morals that Jesus Christ did or taught. They have nothing to do with Jesus Christ. But you would never know that unless you actually read the actual real Bible. Not the Mormon Bible, not the Jehovah Bible, not the Catholic Bible, because those are all cults. And they took little bits and pieces of Christianity, real Christianity, which is just a follower of Christ. By the way, Jesus never called his people Christians. Man looked at Jesus and his following and pointed at them and said, that's a religion and those are Christians. But that's not true, because Jesus himself was against religion, and he called out religious people all the time, and he taught his people not to be religious in nature. So how could followers of Christ that you call Christians be religion? Well, here's where you got tricked. There's these cults that belong to Satan and are inspired by Satan and rose up by Satan, and he gets them to claim and put a shirt on that says, I'm a Christian, but they're out there raping women and they're, pedophiles and all these types of, evil, blasphemous things that they're doing in Jesus' name. And Jesus told us specifically in the actual real Bible that there was going to be people like that, false prophets, false teachers, cults, and people that falsely claim to come in his name, Jesus Christ, Yahshua, which, again, I'm not going to get into that either, than the Yahshua and Jesus and why that exists, because there was no English back in the Hebrew Greek times, so there was no word Jesus. But now, 2,000 years later, Yahshua actually converts into the word Jesus. Now, that language has changed over the last 2,000 years, and now English does exist to translate from that word Yahshua, okay? So, yeah, okay, listen. I'm actually putting the work in. I'm really studying, okay? I spent 23 hours a day in a jail cell with nothing but a Bible, the Holy Bible, not the Mormon Bible, not the Jehovah Bible, not the Catholic Bible, okay? None of these cults, that are branches. They basically try to claim that they're Christian and claim that they're the real Bible, and they were the first, and the pagans and all this stuff, they're all cults. The Bible itself educates us on this, but because you fed into all of those lies and all of those deceptions, you literally disregarded the actual truth itself, and you got turned away from Jesus Christ because you got a mouthful of something that was false, that gave you a bad taste in your mouth, so you turned your face away from the truth. And that's what the devil wants. That's what the devil does. His job is to turn you and turn the world against Jesus Christ, as it always has been, okay, and turn people away from the word of God, the true word of God, okay, all by design. So you guys fell for all these snares and these traps. You got deceived, and you think that it's the Christians, you think that it's the Bible, you think that it's Jesus Christ that's fake, and that is the deception and the lie. That's how crazy the devil is. That's how good and manipulative, evil the devil is. That's how slick and smart he is. He was one of the most greatest. He was cast out of heaven for greed. You know what I'm saying? Because he wanted to take God's place. He was cast out. You know what I mean? He became, bitter in his heart, and evil dwelled within him. So he was cast out. You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, he's like, yeah, you know what? God said to him, he's like, okay, you do things your way, and let's see if it works out for you. Take a look at the world and how much evil is out there, and how much destruction, brokenness, pain, evil is going on in the world. Because this is Satan's world. God gave it to him for a period of time just to prove to him and to us, his true followers that hear his voice, who's good and who's not, who's right and who's wrong. Yeah, for real, yeah. See that? The Evidence Study Bible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going into historical, bro. I'm doing real work. So listen, bottom line is, I was so blessed to be able to go through evil and know evil before I even knew a God. So check this out. This is, you might say, oh, this kid's been brainwashed by the Bible. Well, check this out. God revealed himself to me in an undeniable way before I even read the Bible, before I even touched it. In fact, I was so evil, I used to punch my friends out for talking about God in front of me, and I put that on my dead father, okay? For real. My dad, Douglas, Wiegand, okay? God is my witness. I beat my own friends up. I was just like you. I believed in the same things as you. I had to dig. I had to spend 23 hours a day in a jail cell with the Bible, and I wanted to challenge it intellectually. I wasn't even trying to open up to it. And it challenged me, okay? And it was the realest thing I ever read in my life. It's realer than all you fake suckers out there and all this fake world and the fake foundation it's built on and the fake system and everything else. But you don't even know where it comes from and where it originates from, because you got deceived by all these cults that claim to be Christians when they're not. And they have nothing to do with the Bible or Jesus Christ or the morals or principles that Jesus Christ taught us in the first place. But you'll never know that, and you never will, because you didn't actually read the actual real Bible. You fell for a cult first, turned you off. You realized that was fake. You thought that was Christianity, and you're like, see, that's what Christianity's like. Yeah, God's fake. I'm out of here. Peace. That's what happened to you. But God uses people that know evil better than anybody. So me growing up 14, 15 years old, I had a 6-year probation order when I was 15, didn't get off until I was 21 years old. I was institutionalized. I grew up in the system. I grew up around evil demons all my life. All that gangster stuff that you think is cool in the movies you watch, yeah, that was like my life, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, and there's always bigger gangsters, there's always bigger demons, you know what I'm saying? So, I could be a fish in a shark tank, it doesn't matter, that's not the point. But I know evil, truly. You know what I'm saying? I was kicking in doors. I was doing all the gangster stuff there is to do. I was selling drugs to people knowing it was destroying them, and I did it on purpose. And I fed off the evil, and I was trying to outsmart and manipulate every situation that I could to my benefit. And I did, because I tapped into the power of Satan, okay? I knew that there was a devil before I believed in a God. I punched my friends out for talking about Jesus Christ to me. I ripped my best friend's chain off, which was a gold chain, which was a cross, punched him out, and left them sitting there on the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? Just for talking about Jesus to me. That's how evil I was. So I know the evil better than you guys. So how could you tell me that there's no God and God's a lie and the Christianity's a lie and all this stuff? I thought the same thing. So I had to dig. I'm a real dude. I'm going to go and find out. I'm going to knock on your door and talk to you face to face. That's the type of guy that I am. If somebody says you're a snitch, I'm knocking on your door and I'm asking for your paperwork. I'm pulling up on you, bro. Like, I don't do this like what you guys do. Oh yeah, so-and-so said this about this guy. This guy's a snake, this guy's a snitch, this guy's that. I don't do that, bro. You know what I mean? People get killed for that where I come from. That's not solid, that's not gangster, that's not foundational, that's not how the street code goes and the principles and none of that. You weirdos. Okay? So I don't know why these people are trying to act like they know about evil and they know about God. Because first you need to know evil before you know good. First, you need to know the darkness before you know the light. That's why God favors sinners. And that's why he goes to help them. He left the 99 sheep for the one. I was the one sheep. Because we are the ones that God are going to raise up and prove to the rest of the world that his existence is real. Just by our life, living proof. Just me living my life. I was in a tent a year ago, and now I'm in a condo. You know what I mean? And the way that it happened was very abnormal, okay? There was people that don't believe in God that was watching what I was going through and how things were happening the way they were. And they were like, bro, that's not normal. Like, I don't know who's looking out for you up there. And I explained to them, yeah, I am a child of God. There is a God. You know what I'm saying? And the only way to the Father is through Jesus Christ. Everything else is a cult and a lie, straight up. You know what I'm saying? And I had to figure that out for myself. I lived with a Muslim guy, an African guy, a Somalian guy, and a Jamaican guy. They had the Quran. They had all these other religions. These guys were demons. They were selling crack every single day. Half of them are dead. And probably the other half are on the drugs, the same drugs they were selling, except for me. I was the only one that was prosperous, and I was the only one that believed in Jesus Christ. But I got to see their religions firsthand. Who could tell me? I have the most in-depth experience learning about these things firsthand. I was in the streets. You weren't. You didn't live that life. So how could you tell me what it is? You can't. You're not in a position you never were. There's levels to this stuff. People talk about their trauma and about everybody has trauma. Buddy, there are levels to this. It's not even humble of you to speak about your trauma to somebody that has clearly been through a lot more than you. You know what I'm saying? Even me. I've been in jail with guys that were in there for life. I'm in there for an assault. You think I'm going to be like, yeah, man, I know that life, dog. You know what I'm saying? Trust me. I can tell you, bro. Like, yo, trust me. God's not real. How could I do that when this guy's in there for life? It's not humble of me to do that, even regardless of what I think. That just shows who's righteous and who's not, who's humble and who's not, even in a street goon gangster life sitting in a jail cell. Okay? So that's how I know these people that are talking about the Bible and Christianity aren't even real dudes to begin with. They ain't even real in the street code. They're not real in the political world. They're not real in who they are as a character, as a human being, as any type of solid at all already in their character. They don't have it. They're not born of it. They didn't live it. They think they're a part of it. They don't even know there's levels to this, and their level is embarrassing. They should be grateful for that little bit of trauma they got. It's a blessing. So the life that I lived growing up in darkness like that made me be able to identify the light much better. Knowing evil gave me the ability to know the truth and know goodness. And there is no good without God. God proved himself to me before I even picked the Bible up. So that's how I knew it was real. I was like, yo, I was just tapping into the devil's energy, kicking people's doors and selling crack and doing some real gangster stuff. And it was evil, and I liked it. You know what I'm saying? I tapped into the demonic energy. You didn't. I would have crushed your head if I caught you out there lacking. I would have took your shoes off your feet, slapped you in the face for no reason, belittled you, treated you like nothing because I was a demon and I know the devil. Okay? And I tapped in. I knew that I was linked with the devil before I even believed in a God. But I knew for sure there was a devil because I seen it when I did ecstasy, when I did mushrooms, when I did drugs. You know what I'm saying? When I was tripping out, delusional, demonic, smashing people out, punching windows out, you know, selling drugs. I knew the nastiest, darkest evil you could ever possibly understand. And I've seen it firsthand all my life. And I watched everybody perish and die in the streets except for me because I was the only one that had the Spirit of God, and God chose me. And he brought me up so that I could give testimony to you guys, so I could do this work, so that I could, give glory to him. Because it's real, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody else is on drugs or they're dead. And I grew up right beside them. I was stealing cars. These guys were in the back. I could start getting people on here, whoever's left alive, maybe like not even a handful of people that I possibly could get a hold of and get them on these videos and be like, yo, bro, I was with, you know what I'm saying, with Weegs. You know what I'm saying? We was in a stolen whip. This kid was lit. This kid was hopping out, moshing people up. You know what I mean? He was really living that stuff. He was really about that life, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, there's levels, right? There's bigger gangsters than me that ran me off the block when I was young, when I was 16 years old, and they had burners before I even had a gun. So there's levels, right? And it's a lose-lose. That life, that gangster life, that devil life, that demon life that you glorify, that you think is so cool, that you think you know so well, and your trauma, yeah, okay, buddy. Your trauma would get traumatized. There's levels. Even for me, this is only in this country. It gets crazier. There's foreign countries. You know what I'm saying? There's refugees. Where I grew up, there was 100, 200 refugees that ran the streets wild, punching dudes out, shooting people in the face because they just came from a country of war where they were shooting AKs when they were 13 years old. And you know what happens to them? They get brought to Canada and they get dropped off in Toronto and Hamilton. Those are the two main multicultural places in Canada. A little bit of education for you guys. So I grew up around Muslims, Somalian gangsters, demons, devils, buddy. Like, these kids were just demon possessed. You know what I'm saying? And they wouldn't hesitate to stab you, punch you, shoot you. And they're ganged up 100, 200 deep. Like, biggest wall of goons I ever seen. I got stomped out, moshed up. So I know this life, okay? Don't talk to me about it. You don't know it. You don't know the devil. You don't know God. You don't believe in God. You don't even believe in the devil, so you can't even defend yourself against the enemy in the first place. You're blind with your hands open when you're going to get punched in the face. You're not ready for it. So, I just talked to this guy, and his name was Brandon Street on Facebook. I go and I look at his, he's trying to tell me, God's a lie and all this stuff and blah, blah, same stuff as I was saying when I was a demon and I was possessed and I was deceived and I was tricked by the enemy. But I go and I look at his pictures. This guy's in Mercedes, Benz, like Lambo. It's not a fake profile. The guy was real. He had a normal life. He had a picture with his daughter and stuff like that. But he clearly lived a privileged life. From looking at it, and somebody might say, well, you don't know that. You don't know what he's been through in trauma. Here's the thing about darkness and evil and trauma. You can see trauma. As much as the system that you say you don't trust in the first place, but you're going along with that, tells you that you can't really see it. Yes, you can. It's hard sometimes, but it depends on who you are and the background that you have. If you didn't grow up in the streets and know evil the way I do, then you don't have the ability to look at somebody and can see if they're real or not, if they're authentic or not, if they're a gangster or not, if they're a snitch or not, if they know the devil or not, if they've really been through real trauma or not. You get good at it when you know it so well. It's like you know who you are. You know yourself well. And somebody comes in saying that something different about you that you know isn't true. How could they do that when you know who you are? You know that they don't know. It's the same thing. When these guys walk into the room and they claim that they got trauma or they've been through this life, you can see right through them, into their soul, into their eyes, through the back of their head. You can see every expression on their face, every wrinkle, every scar, every the bags under their eyes. There's literally readings that you can look at on a human being and tell if they've really lived that life. And if you can't, because they've created this image that is so convincing that you can't fully know if they are or not, spend some time around them. Because if you really live that life and you come from that life, it's going to become very obvious over a period of time who they really are. And then there's the testing period. That's what happens where I come from. You get tested. You know what I mean? And if you ain't about it, you're a victim. I already had to go through that process. I had to hurt people. I had to do a lot of this. I had to do some crazy stuff that I'm lucky I'm not in jail for the rest of my life for. And it doesn't matter. This was 10, 15 years ago. It's already been dealt with. Everything's done and cleared up. But this guy clearly lived a privileged life. And that's why his lack of capacity to be able to identify the light, the truth, good versus evil, and the darkness. Because he didn't live in the darkness to actually be able to identify the true light. Now, Satan claims that he is a being of light. Levels to this, okay? Levels to this. And if you don't know the light and if you don't know the darkness and you know that these demons try to pretend to be your friend with a smile on their hand and shake your hand, and the next thing you know, they turn demon on you and they're robbing you, punching your face in, sleeping with your wife right in front of you on some demon stuff. You know what I mean? Real talk. Bro, I've seen the craziest evil. I shouldn't even be talking about this because it's that damaging to me. I shouldn't be provoking this stuff, but I have to. But anyways, even Satan, the devil himself, the most evil, comes in a form of light. Okay? Exactly. But if you didn't know the darkness, the true darkness, then you would have ran towards that light thinking that was God, because you didn't know that these demons have the ability to reflect themselves as light in the first place with a smile on their face. That's why civilians are victims to robbery, trickery. They get manipulated easily. They get used easily. They get turned out, killed, hurt, beat up easily because they don't come from that life. They don't have the capacity to defend themselves and they don't have the real life experience. So I was blessed to be able to go through that, and God allowed me to go through these trials so that way I would become who I am right now today. So that way I could give him glory by giving my testimony about how God saved my life, because he did. It wasn't from the own goodness of my heart. I did not have a heart. I had nothing but evil inside of my heart, and all I wanted to do was cause destruction, rob people. And every day I woke up was like, yo, what's the plot today? Who are we robbing today? Who are we going to pretend to be friends with so we can go and rob them and take everything they have and punch them out? I did this on a daily basis all of my young life. I became the master manipulator, and then I said, how am I getting this energy? Where is this intelligence coming from? It's coming from the devil. And once I clicked and I did drugs and I saw the demons and I saw the devil face to face and he revealed himself to me and I knew it was real, then I was like, wait, I know the devil's real. I asked him to tap in his energy and he gave it to me, and I got away with every little evil thing and every robbery and every house I robbed. I never got caught. It was like I kept cops I would circle the block in a stolen whip, park it, then the cop came flying down the street right 2 minutes after I hopped out the whip. It was like that every single time. It wasn't a coincidence. It was because I was tapping into Satan's energy. And I knew it, and I knew I could do it and harvest it, but it turns on you in the end. It flips on you, and it destroys you. So, and then once you become trustworthy of this energy and think you harvest some type of power, it flips on you, and you get killed, and then you go to hell. Deception to its fullest degree. So anyways, this person lived a privileged life, and I could see it, and that's why their capacity was so small to not be able to identify good and evil, light and dark, the way that I know it. And that's why God preserved me. That's why he saved me. That's why he rebuilt me. That's why he broke me to rebuild me. That's why he led me all the way here to an island. I live on a friggin' island. I grew up in a polluted city, the most polluted city in Canada. It's called Still City for a reason. People live to 49 and die from lung disease. I already have lung problems because it's the most polluted place in Canada. It's where all the steel factories are, all along the harbor. There's two-headed fish in the water, bro. Like it's bro, like people are retarded. Like it's nuts. Straight demons, straight non-conscious beings, demons, devils. Like that's it. That's all there is there. It's all that place can breed. And when you come from the slum, wherever you're at, in whatever country you're at, when you come from that slum, bro, like in that darkness and that wickedness, you know who's who. You become a survivor, a master manipulator, and a master intelligent survivor. And it's all evil at the beginning until you decide to be like, yo, wait, I know there's evil. I do this. I live this. I know that the devil is real. So wait, wouldn't that mean that there's a God? If there's a devil, and I know for sure, I've seen him, and he talked to me, and I did that drug, and I was tripping out. And then things were happening after when I became sober that actually confirmed that the trip that I had when I was on drugs was actually real, because now I'm sober and I'm not even having that delusion anymore. There are levels to this stuff, and you'll never know until you went there. You'll never know. It's impossible for you to know. It's impossible for you to comprehend. You do not have the capacity. So, that's why God rises people up like me and turns them into kings from peasants, okay? And I'm not saying it can't happen again. I'm not saying that I can't be homeless again or I can't lose all of it. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? God favors those people more than he does the people that have stuff, man. Like, he let me become homeless because it humbled me and it took away my pride so he could actually get through to me and show me the truth, and he did. And it preserved me. And everybody else that didn't have that element ended up dead or on drugs, and they can't escape it because they don't have the power, and they don't see the enemy. They think it's them. It's not. You've been deceived. You got tricked. The system told you that your addiction is a disease. So you said, oh, well, if it's a disease, then I can't beat it. So there's no point of fighting it. So I might as well find a better, more efficient way of serving this addiction, which is the devil himself. And if you don't have the power of God in you, you don't ask for God and the Holy Spirit to redeem you and give you the ability to overcome addiction like I did, then you can't overcome it. And that becomes you, and then you die in that. And then you don't make it into the kingdom of heaven. If you haven't been in jail, you might not even have a feeling of what hell could be possibly be like. Even just the possibility of that keeps you walking a straight line. Once you've been to jail, once you've really seen hell for real, you know what I'm saying? That keeps you, then you know what I'm saying? But until you feel that and see that and go there, you think you know what it's like because you watch little YouTube videos and the news says, whoa, 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 and all this guy got killed. And it's even worse than that. When you realize that you can't go nowhere and you're trapped in a small cell and no one's going to save you and no one's going to let you out and you're there and you're not getting out for a long time. That's a reality that you need to face that you most likely never will. And you will not gain the experience and the knowledge and the wisdom from that experience. Bad things that happen to us can actually be used for good in your future. The worst things you go through are blessings. It says in the Bible for us to literally rejoice when we go through trials. God allows us to go through them because it makes you glorious. It either destroys you or recreates you, and it's your choice. You can either let it kill you and destroy you and just ruin you, or you can bring yourself and use that pain, trauma to get closer to God and closer to the truth, which will rise you up and empower you to create a new creation that you didn't think was ever possible inside of you. You would have never thought. I would have never thought. But it's real. So just a little, little inspiration, man. This is bigger than what you think it is, man. This life, you know what I mean? And again, it might seem like a cartoon to somebody that hasn't lived the life that I lived, and they think they got trauma. Listen, like I said, I'll smash your trauma, and that might be offensive. You know what? That's okay. I would agree with that. If my buddy did 10, 15 years, he would say that to me. That you think you're messed up, you think you got demons, you think you got trauma, kid. I'll smash your trauma. I'd be like, yeah, probably. Yeah, there's levels to this. I'm a demon, but you're a demon too on a different level. And I not submit to that, but I'm humbled towards that and understand that you're right. There's levels to this stuff. I'm not going to say I got trauma in front of someone that's got life and I'm getting out in a couple of months. That's disgusting, and that'll get you killed from somebody that really has some real trauma. Your ass will get fried. You'll get clapped. You'll get killed. You know what I'm saying? So don't be talking about, everybody's got trauma and you don't know how much that trauma is to that person. Yeah, I get it. Pain, trauma, darkness. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But there's levels, so humble yourself. Even me, I humble myself. Everything I've been through, I even say, I live in Canada. Like, it's as dark as this country can get where I came from. That's as dark as this and as sick and as poverty-struck as this can get in this country. But there's other countries where the poverty is much, much deeper and darker than the lowest point of poverty in this country. I humble myself to that. I say this is a blessing. I don't say I got trauma to these kids. That came from a country of war, came out here and they're refugees. I acknowledge it. And I still say, yeah, see, it could get worse. So you better even humble yourself even more and bring yourself closer to God. Because that's why God lets us go through these trials and tribulations, man. Because it wakes us up. It shows us how dark the world is, how evil it is, how painful it is. And then we think there's got to be some good. There has to be something good about life. What is it? God answers. He puts it in front of you. You have a choice. You can ignore it or you can acknowledge it. And if you do, you'll blossom like a flower. It'll just turn you into the next level, indestructible by the devil and the attacks of the enemy and evil in this lifetime. You will be indestructible. You will overcome all your addiction, alcoholism, mental illness, any bondage and stronghold against you will be removed in Jesus' mighty name by the blood of Jesus Christ. Take that in.